Yabba and welcome back to another episode of Late Nights at the Talon, a series where I do recaps of one of my favorite shows, Smallville. Today we are recapping Season 1, Episode 2, Metamorphosis. This is one of the grosser episodes, I am not gonna lie. I was cringing all throughout this as I was watching. But it's still very interesting and a lot of fun, so without further ado, let's get right into it. So Lana gets dropped off after the homecoming dance, which is what we saw happening at the end of the last episode. And what's cool about the opening of this episode is that we actually see a recap of the previous episode ending with the final shot of the last episode as the camera pans up to the sky full of stars, rotates, and pans back down to Lana's house. I really love this shot. It was a little bit wonky the way it was done, but it was 2001, and I think for 2001, it was done pretty well. We get to see Lana put her homecoming crown away into a trophy drawer in her bedroom. I thought that the visual storytelling here was really great because it was like they were showing us that Lana is seemingly this girl who has it all, but is clearly still unfulfilled. Lana might be the prettiest girl in school, dating the quarterback, cheerleader, but it just goes to show that you never know what's going on with people behind closed doors. Lana's getting ready for bed and she notices a box on her bed. She opens it up and butterflies fly out. Meanwhile, the creepy bug boy who left those butterflies on her bed, Greg, is sitting in a tree outside of her bedroom with a video camera. They immediately let us know that Greg was a creep. I mean, we didn't even get a chance to become endeared by him at all. The fact that the guy not only broke into Lana's home to leave that box with those poor butterflies trapped in it. I mean, don't butterflies need to breathe? Couldn't they have suffocated in that box? He's the bug boy. Shouldn't he know better? The fact that he not only broke into her home, but he's also sitting in the tree outside, filming her reaction to finding the butterflies in her room? No. Immediately no. That's what? It's bad enough that you not only broke into the house, you're watching her outside of the house in a tree, like a creepy stalker. But on top of that, you're filming it? No. You know, I tend to be a little bit sympathetic towards the meteor freaks, as they call them on this show, but this one was an immediately absolutely not. Greg goes home and immediately is confronted by his mother, who finds that he has countless videotapes of Lana, not only by herself, but with Whitney, her boyfriend. That is weird. And usually the parents in this series can be a little overzealous sometimes, but personally, I don't think that her reaction was that bad. I think she could have reacted a little bit stronger. If I had a kid and I found out they were secretly filming one of their classmates without their consent and stalking them in the middle of the night, I would be worried for my own safety. And as we see later on in this episode, she would have been well within her rights to be worried as well. Greg's mom is not happy and she tells him she's gonna ship him off to military school because enough is enough. It's bad enough he's got all these bugs in our house because he's a bug collector. Now you're also a stalker. By the way, Greg drives a green bug as his car, which beautiful touch. Sometimes Smallville can be a little too on the nose, but I thought that was really fun. Greg is really pissed off at his mom for finding these videotapes that he filmed of Lana, but honestly, dude, you don't have the right to be upset. You were the one being a creepy stalker. We get to see Greg's bedroom and he has bugs everywhere. Seriously, there are just huge bug tanks filling up the majority of his bedroom. I understand bug collecting to a certain extent, but I will never understand why people cage butterflies. They're butterflies. They have wings. They're meant to fly. Mother Nature gave them wings for a reason, and it wasn't to keep them locked up in a cage. But it seems like Greg is going to release the bugs after realizing that if he goes away to military school, there's not going to be anyone to take care of them anyway. We see him in his green beetle filled with bug tanks when one shatters on the floor, releasing the insects inside into his car. The insects begin to swarm around Greg, biting him and causing him to crash into a tree. We see him getting ate the hell up in his car, and honestly, I didn't really feel that bad for him. I mean, yeah, that sucks, but you kind of brought this on yourself, dude. Also, that is like one of my biggest fears, being trapped in a car full of bugs. Yeah, I'd crash too. I would also crash out. Absolutely not. I do not do bugs. I really hate bugs. I really don't. I don't like bugs. This episode is nasty. The next morning, Greg's mom walks into his bedroom to see that all the bug tanks are gone, and so is Greg. So she thinks, because as she walks away, the camera pans up and we see Greg sticking to the ceiling. It just gets grosser from here. I'm warning you. In one of my favorite scenes in Smallville, which you will hear me say quite frequently throughout this series, we see a POV shot of Clark flying through Smallville and into Lana Lang's bedroom. Everybody's trying to break into this girl's bedroom. I swear. I'm telling you, creepy. Clark is floating over Lana's bed as she sleeps, watching her. She wakes up and tells him, "It's all your fault." Before Clark has enough time to figure out what she meant by that, he crashes down onto his own bed. We see that he was simply having a dream. And although he might not have been floating in Lana Lang's bedroom, he certainly was floating in his own, as we see him crash down onto his bed, breaking the frame. This was very fun. Watching the moment he wakes up and seeing the bed frame break on one side and then fully collapse on the other. Comedy. The physical comedy in the show is really, really fun and very, very silly when they get it right. Also, I really love the way Clark's room is dressed. It really does fully embody that look of a teenage boy from the early 2000s bedroom. I found it to be super nostalgic. He gonna get in trouble for breaking that bed though. His parents are already stretched thin. They cannot afford to get you a new bed frame, Clark. I know he didn't do it on purpose, but maybe his parents just let him sleep on a mattress on the floor from now on. Clark later tells his father what happened, and Jonathan is baffled, flabbergasted. He doesn't know what to do, and I can't really blame him. Can you? He's got this alien son who's gaining new superpowers every freaking day, and now he has to deal with the fact that in addition to his freakish strength and the fact that he's seemingly invincible, he can also fly. The Kents head to the farmer's market, and Clark runs into Bangs, my arch nemesis. Clark's arch nemesis. He's not really Clark's arch nemesis, but I don't like him. Whitney tells Clark that the Scarecrow incident was just a joke, man. Clark is not having it, and when Whitney asks him if he can give him Lana's necklace back, Clark sassily tells him, "Why don't you go out to the field and go get it yourself?" Period, Clark. You go get that necklace. It was just a joke. The fact that I beat you up and I strung you up on a pole, Clark, it was just a joke. By the way, do you have my girlfriend's necklace that I put on your neck last night as a joke? No, I don't have that shit, bitch. Why don't you go to the field and find it yourself? You're the one that lost it, and you're the one that's gonna get in trouble for it. Fuck you, Whitney. That's what I would have said anyway. What makes me mad is that Jonathan comes over in this scene and shakes Whitney's hand because he's this hero football player. You're not a hero, you're a bully, sir. I would be so mad if I saw my dad shaking the hand of the guy who literally just beat my ass the night before. But Clark doesn't say anything. Get a backbone, would you? Bangs didn't even apologize. He didn't even apologize in that moment. He just want to talk about it's just a joke. Yeah, go find that necklace yourself. Go get it yourself, Bangs. You are a terrible person. Lana runs into Greg, who is no longer the pimpled, greasy boy that we saw earlier in the episode, but now the smooth-skinned, leather jacket, slick-back-haired guy asking for help with an assignment in school. He comes on a little too strong, though, after Lana agrees to help him out, proclaiming it's a date. I hate it when people say it's a date when it's not a date. Like a date. I feel like some people, when they say that, they just mean it's a date. Like, I'm going to see you on that date. But we all know what that means. Don't say it's a date to me when we both know it's not a freaking date. Greg does clean up nice, I got to tell you. He's pretty handsome, but he's still a freaking creep. Yeah, that's right. Just because you look good now doesn't mean I forgot about you peering into Lana's window, you freak. Whitney comes up and is like, get away from my girlfriend, bug boy. And honestly, even though Whitney gets on my nerves sometimes, he was so valid for this. He doesn't know it, but yeah, Greg needs to get the hell away from that girl. Lex shows up at the farmer's market and asks Clark if he's okay after what went down last night. And Clark is insisting he's fine, which physically, sure, he's fine. But emotionally, mentally, I don't believe that's the case. Lex is like, Clark, are you gonna tell anybody what Bangs did to you last night? Because that was a mess. That was actually a mess. I know you're not gonna let him get away with that, right? And Clark's like, it's not a big deal, man. It's not a big deal. Everything's fine. I'm okay. You're not okay, Clark. You're upset, and you have the right to be. I would have snitched. I don't care. I would have told my mom. Yeah, I would have got home and told my mom. But Clark was put into a vulnerable and embarrassing position by being strung up on that pole, so I actually understand why he doesn't want anyone to know. I really enjoyed watching Lex and Clark's interaction in this episode, but gosh, I've seen this series so many times, and every time I want it to end differently because their chemistry as friends was just so much fun. It sucks that they're destined to be anything but. We find out that Greg got fucking superpowers and shit because he ambushes Whitney and flips his freaking truck. I am so serious when I say this. Car insurance companies in this town must be very wealthy because every episode someone's car gets destroyed. Banks must have a little luck on his side, unfortunately for me, because moments after the accident, the Kents show up and Clark uses his powers to pull Whitney out of the car seconds before it explodes. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but is this the moment where they realize that their son truly is invincible? I mean, we saw in the first episode that Clark stuck his hand in the wood chipper and everything was fine. So I feel like they must have known already that he wasn't vulnerable to the typical injuries that a lot of humans are vulnerable to. But maybe they've never seen their son engulfed in a ball of flames before because they seem genuinely surprised that he was okay. Also, cars blow up so fast on TV. Does that happen in real life? And once again, Clark is better than me because after what Bangs did to him and the fact that he saved his life, he wouldn't have been able to tell me nothing. I would have reminded him of that every day of his freaking life. I saved your life, Whitney. I could have let you get turned into a chicken strip, and I would have been well within my rights to do so. You better not touch me again. That's what I would have said. Also, pause, because Clark had so many different looks in this season. After this, I feel like we got relegated to the blue shirt and the red jacket combo with the jeans and the boots, with the occasional tan jacket over top, and maybe every once in a while he'd wear a plaid. I just miss the variety in his looks for the rest of the series. But I understand he was getting all his clothes destroyed every episode. Eventually, enough has to be enough. The Kents are already broke. Lana is horseback riding, bringing her horse back into the stable, and is startled by Lex's appearance at the stables. Lex tries to introduce himself, but Lana's clearly weirded out by him because apparently when she was little, she and her aunt were at the Luther Mansion in Metropolis. She went to their indoor pool and found Lex skinny dipping and practicing the breaststroke with a girl in the pool. Lex is clearly embarrassed that Lana saw him in that state, and it's one of the first and also only times we actually see Lex's face drop. The mask doesn't fall often in this series with him, but I really appreciated seeing that he was genuinely embarrassed that Lana had witnessed that occurring. We get so much of a stoic Lex or a smug Lex. I like embarrassed Lex. What I don't like is the fact that Lex already seems like he's creeping on Lana. What's funny though is that at the beginning of the series, Lex is Clark and Lana's #1 shipper, and we constantly see him trying to get them together, including in this scene. Lex sees a picture of Lana wearing the same necklace that Clark was wearing in the cornfield when he found him the other day. She tells Lex that she actually lent the necklace to her boyfriend Whitney, and Lex starts to put two and two together, realizing that Whitney must have been the one who put Clark on that pole the night before. Lex decides to meddle in Lana's love life like he always does, and tells her to ask her boyfriend Whitney where he was at before the homecoming game. My boy Lex, he's got Clark's back. That much I can say at the beginning of this series. Because of the nature of his character though, you kind of have to wonder if he had an ulterior motive. I was happy he was meddling though, because Lana deserves to know what kind of guy her boyfriend is. Greg's mom comes home to discover that her thermostat has been sent to 103 degrees. I don't believe in whooping children. However, if you set my thermostat to 103 degrees, we gonna have some issues. The walls are also covered in webs, and then Greg comes out, and I think he's naked? Gross. Greg is being a creepy little incel and explains to his mother that he's going to eat, then he's gonna molt, and then he's gonna mate like a damn insect. This episode is nasty. He tells his mother about a spider called the pharaoh spider that apparently upon hatching, consumes its own mother. And that's exactly what Greg does. Also, his bedroom was just ugh. Like, I know that teenage boys' bedrooms are gross, but this is ridiculous. This episode is truly a horror story. First, this guy is a stalker. Then he kills his own mother. Nasty and unredeemable. What is it about that meteor rock that makes people lose their damn minds? If I had powers, I would just be chill about it. Clark is at Lex's house again, as we will see throughout this series. He always there. Even when they're not friends anymore, he just always there. Lex is explaining to Clark how his father, Lionel, sees business as war. And as he's talking, he pulls out a lead box that contains Lana's necklace. But Lana's necklace, of course, is made of kryptonite, which immediately makes Clark feel very, very ill. Lex persuades Clark to take the box with the necklace and give it back to Lana, hoping that it'll win him some points with her, especially after what her boyfriend did to him. Lana realizes what Whitney was actually up to when she confronts him at school, asking where he was before the football game. He lies like the liar he is and tells her he was just warming up. But Lana is a smart girl and she knows what he did. She pointedly asks for her necklace back and Whitney tells her that he lost it. We're breaking up immediately. No, absolutely not. He knew how important that necklace was to her and he was reckless with it anyway. Girl, that's a red flag if I've ever seen one. You need to run. As she's leaving, she passes Greg in the hallway, who's like super unnecessarily angry with her because she forgot about their date. Why is he treating her as if they're in a relationship? I mean, it doesn't even seem like they're friends. He is super entitled to her time all of a sudden, and it just makes me dislike his character even more. All right, like seriously, Greg, you're doing way too much. Lana doesn't owe you shit. At the barn, Clark is testing out the necklace's effects on him, and Lana comes in and apologizes for what Whitney did to him. I hate that Lana apologized for what Whitney did. Like, that is not on you, girl. Also, why is she so much more mature than her boyfriend? Lana's a freshman, Whitney's a senior, and I know girls mature faster than boys, but like, this is out of pocket. I'm glad that Clark told her that she has nothing to be sorry about because he was absolutely correct. We get another corny Superman reference as Lana admires the loft and Clark tells her that Jonathan, his father, built it for him and calls it his fortress of solitude. This is not nearly as bad as the "Are you man or Superman?" line from the first episode, so I'll let it go. Clark has the opportunity to give Lana her necklace back in this scene as he is in possession of it, but he ultimately decides against it. And I have a feeling that it was for a little bit of a selfish reason because Clark knows if he gave Lana that necklace back and she started wearing it again, he'd never be able to get close to her. Meanwhile, Greg is being nasty in the shower and peeling his freaking skin off as he molts. This is disgusting. It's so nasty. I know it's not real, but it's so gross. And also, why are you letting piles of your dead skin float down the bathtub drain? You're gonna clog the drain! Out of all the abilities in this series, this is definitely one of the grosser ones. It's also super inconvenient. I mean, I don't want to eat people and shed my skin every day. After he's done being a nasty, nasty boy, Greg heads to the Kent's farm and shows up in the barn to attack Clark and his father. Clark saves his dad before he falls on a bunch of blades from a piece of their farming equipment. And honestly, I can totally see why the Kents are so broke. They're breaking farming equipment left and right. Come to think of it, did Clark break the wood chipper when he stuck his arm in? Because those are probably very expensive. Clark shines his flashlight on the ceiling of the barn and sees green oozing glowing footprints. Yeah, these abilities are not worth it at all. Clark tells his parents that he's pretty sure that it was Greg and apparently he used to be friends with the guy. And once again, we get more self-loathing from Clark as he worries that everything going wrong in this town is all his fault. Clark, it's not your fault. It's literally your parents' fault. I know he doesn't understand that yet. I know he's a teenager, but it is so frustrating seeing him take the blame blame for everything that happens in this town. Yeah, Clark, it's all your fault that people died in a meteor shower and now everybody has freaky powers because you were a toddler who came to town in a spaceship all on your own. You did it all by yourself. It was all your fault. Is that what you want to hear? Give it a rest, sir. Chloe, with her never-ending flow of journalistic knowledge, helps Clark to deduce that Greg must have some meteor-infected bugs that cause these abilities that he now has. Pete mentions that Greg had a slamming treehouse back in the day that he loved to hang out in, but Clark always got sick when they went there. Clark says it's because the treehouse wasn't structurally sound, but we all know what the truth is. The treehouse was likely built around the site of a bunch of meteor rocks. There's a really fun line in this episode around this scene when Chloe starts to worry that Clark is going to outgrow her, and Clark is quick to let her know that he could never outgrow her, only vertically, and he flashes the most beautiful smile I've ever seen. Clark, Pete, and Chloe realize something fishy is going on with Greg, so they go and break into his house. Yeah, that's right, they just break in. Chloe slides the window up and they slide right in that thing. Might be the first time they broke into a home in this series, but it definitely isn't the last. And guys, this might be one of the reasons why the cops in this town are so suspicious of you. Your fingerprints and your footprints are always all over the freaking crime scenes. I think you guys were up to no good too. They go into the sauna of a house, find all the nasty skin in the bathtub drain, see the videos that Greg has taken of Lana, and also discover Greg's dead mother. They deduce that Greg is ready to mate and he's likely going after Lana next, and they have to save her. How are they not at all traumatized by all the death and nastiness that they see in this town? I'm telling you, the dead bodies pile up, and I have not seen one of these characters see a therapist. Meanwhile, Whitney is with Lana at the horse stables trying to apologize for losing her necklace when creepy incel bug boy nasty Greg shows up. He's a nasty boy. I don't like him. Greg throws Whitney into one of the horse stables, presumably knocking him out, and kidnaps Lana. What are your list of crimes up to this point? Stalking, breaking and entering, filming someone without their consent, murdering your mother, and now you're kidnapping? Red card. Get him out of here, ref. Bangs and Clark eventually team up to save Lana, and low-key, I kind of hate this scene because Whitney gets all the glory of actually discovering Lana in her cocoon after Clark does, mind you, because Clark ends up chasing Greg into the woods. Clark initially finds Greg and Lana in Greg's treehouse, and Greg escapes with Clark quickly following behind. They end up in the Creekside Foundry, a little factory in Smallville that's seemingly abandoned and filled to the brim with meteor rocks. Clark is clearly at a very bad disadvantage because Greg has super bug strength and is just tossing him around like a rag doll. Clark initially can't fight back due to the amount of meteor rocks in the abandoned factory, but he discovers that lead is coating the structure and he's able to gain his strength enough to throw Greg right across that thing. This scene made me so mad too because Greg was just talking cash shit the whole freaking time until Clark throws him on his ass. Greg ends up getting accidentally squashed by a piece of heavy machinery, and Clark runs over to see a trail of bugs scattering away. What's that mean? Is he still alive? Did he turn into bugs? Is he dead? I hope he's dead. Back at the treehouse, Whitney runs inside and helps Lana out of all that nasty cobweb. Clark runs back to the treehouse just in time to see Whitney and Lana embracing before getting into his new car. How he get a new car so quickly? I know that's not important, but like, seriously. Wait, did I ever mention the fact that Greg is definitely way too old to be a 14-year-old kid? That's a grown man. That's another big boy. Was a big boy. I hope he's dead. And Whitney, you barely even did anything. Later that night, Clark finally leaves Lana's necklace on her porch and she comes outside and discovers it, happy to finally have her favorite necklace back and wrongly assuming that Whitney was the one who brought it to her. Also, girl, like, why are you so excited? He's the one that lost it in the first place. I'm really glad that Clark ultimately decided to give Lana her necklace back, I just wish that she knew it was from him. This episode was kind of weird because, unlike a lot of the meteor freaks in this series, who we do end up seeing a lot of the time kind of end up being bad guys, in this episode, I was completely unable to empathize with Greg. I mean, we begin the episode with him filming Lana without her consent in a freaking tree after breaking into her house and leaving her a bunch of butterflies on her bed. I don't care if it was meant to be romantic. That was weird. If somebody did that to me, I would be calling the police. And in this episode, I feel like we got a really good look at the type of guy that Clark is. He's very humble, he's very forgiving, and he's very quick to let someone else take credit for the things that he does, which can be very frustrating, you know? But at the same time, that's Superman for you. Definitely not my favorite episode just because Greg was a freaky weirdo, but I did enjoy all of the cute little banter, and I also really liked seeing Clark get at least a little bit sassy with Whitney. But that's going to be it for tonight's episode of Late Nights at the Talon. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I would definitely appreciate it if you could leave a like on this video, but only if you liked it. And if you did enjoy this video and would like to see more videos just like it or better and definitely not worse, you could always subscribe to my channel. Let me know in the comments what you thought of this episode, and I will catch you in the next one.